Hello everyone, so I'll show you another exciting game from the Smith-Morra Gambit, and as we saw in the last video, we started with e4, c5, d4, c takes d4, and now c3, which is the Smith-Morra Gambit. And after d takes c3, knight takes c3, knight to c6, knight to f3, black plays g6. G6 is a normal developing move which you see a lot in the Sicilian, especially in the dragon and accelerated dragon variations. So black is going to go with the setup with bishop to G7 and knight to F6 and short castles. White continues development with bishop to C4, bishop to G7, and now comes a critical position already in the sixth move of the game. Here white plays E5. Now the idea behind E5 is to kind of slow down the development of the knight to F6, therefore kind of forcing black to give a concession by playing E6 himself, which will basically allow white's knight to jump onto D6 square. The pawn of course cannot be taken, because after knight takes on e5 we have knight takes on e5, bishop takes on e5, and then queen to d5, which will lose not only lose the bishop, but that is more importantly checkmate on f7, which is threatened, and the position becomes very difficult, becomes very critical for black. After queen a5, which is played, where now the threat of taking the pawn is real. In the spirit of the Smith-Morra, white simply ignores the pawn, and instead of playing something like a bishop f4, he simply castles. Black is up to the challenge, so after knight takes on e5, knight takes on e5, queen takes on e5. Of course, there is a line which is bishop takes on e5, which is also playable, but we'll just look at the line queen takes on e5. And after queen takes on e5, there is an issue, and the issue is that the king is still in the center, and the queen can be kind of attacked with a tempo. And after the move rook to e1, we already see that that is pressure on the e7 pawn. Once the queen moved to a5, white played this very nice knight to d5. Now knight to d5 is attacking the e7 square and also keeping an eye out on the c7 square, so both these squares are kind of attacked. So if black can defend one of the squares, so if he decides to defend the e7 square and play something like e6, then since the knight cannot be taken, white can continue with bishop to f4, and there is no way to defend the c7 square anymore, and this becomes a problem. Something like king d8 can result in bishop to c7 check, which wins the queen, and a king moving to f8 will result in knight to c7, and after the rook moves, you can simply capture the pawn and win the rook. I'll show you the lines. For example, king to c7, king to d8, bishop to c7, and sorry about that, and king to f8, then knight goes here, and then after that there is a check and the rook is falling. So none of these lines playing with after e6, the c7 cannot be defended and has to be given up. After bishop f4, this is probably the best try, but once the rook goes, then this is a game over for black. Again, going back to the position after knight to d5, the other two ways to defend is to play bishop to f8. Now bishop to f8 is another way to defend it, but unfortunately this also simply fails. Black can even throw in, white can even throw in b4, and since the queen is completely boxed in after queen to d8 and queen to d4, now there is a threat of taking the rook on e8, and there is nothing much you can do to prevent that, and this is game over once again. So after knight to d5, the only final try that black can give is bishop to f6, but I feel after the simple knight takes on f6 and knight takes on f6 and queen d4, we have a lot of problems defending the f6 square. So these are the critical lines which are there, and each of these lines kind of give something for white, and each of these lines give a big advantage. So we'll go back to knight d5, and after knight d5, therefore black chooses to play king to f8, but this fails as well, because after king to f8, white simply continues to develop his bishop, so bishop to d2, and after queen to d8, simply knight takes on e7, and this is of course a knight sacrifice, but the position is extremely critical. Here of course bishop to b4 looks much stronger. In any case, white played bishop to g5, and after f6, queen to d6, sacrificing yet another piece, and now he's 2 pieces down, but there's nothing much which can be done because this position is completely busted. After queen e3, rook e3, that is simply the threat here, and also there's a threat of doubling the rooks along the e file. So white tried to bring back the king into the game, get out of the check, some kind of prophylaxis perhaps, with king to e8, rook a to e1, and after bishop to f8, simply can continue with the simple maneuver, which is rook to f3. Now the threat of course is bishop to f7 checkmate, and therefore the queen needs to be moved, and therefore queen to b6 seem to be the only move, and after rook takes the bishop, there is no way to protect e7, irrespective whether you take with the rook or the king. That is made on e7. So black resigned. A very nice miniature, and this is probably worth analyzing. I will do post the PGN on the description section, and a very active play by white. And this is something which is very important. Remember that when you're playing the Smith-Morra, then it is very critical to continue in the vein of the attack and play active moves, and if you have to throw another pawn into the mix just to get the initiative, then it is very important to do that. Otherwise you would be simply a pawn or two down and nothing to show for. That's all for this video, and I hope you liked the video, and thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.